Hello, this is exclusive interview on AD4 TV radio. I am Tunde Hassan. Across the world, in developed and developing nations, the microeconomy is a key driver. It is the bulwark where operators pitch and give zest to the real sector. Here, finance is vital, and microfinance banks fill the gaps to keep economies running. Our guest is the President of the National Association of Microfinance Banks, Malam Yusuf Gelesu. Before we engage him, this background.
Microfinance banks, as financial institutions, are regarded worldwide as drivers of small businesses. Such banks fill in the gaps where access to conventional banking and related services are limited or not available. The MFBs provide loans to small clients, microinsurance, and payment systems, among other services. Microfinance banks have played significant roles in stimulating activities, especially in the informal sector of the economy. Lack of access to credit has always been a major concern in many developing countries. The situation further emphasizes the role microfinance banks play in economic growth, especially in their services for underserved markets. As financial institutions, MFBs create employment, help existing businesses to grow and diversify, while also empowering individuals, especially women or other disadvantaged groups. Furthermore, microfinance banks serve as veritable vehicles for channeling funds for rural development. Experts agree that microfinance banks do not only provide financial succor to small and medium businesses, but that if adequately structured, can be the real driver of the sector of the economy. The benefit of that advantage has a bearing on the quests of fast-tracking economic growth through financial inclusion.
You are welcome, National President, National Association of Microfinance Banks in Nigeria.
Thank you. It's good to have me around. Thank you.
I think we just go straight to the issue of how critical is microfinance banking to any economy.
Well, thank you very much. To be frank, in every serious nation, the microfinance segment, which constitutes the SMEs, is the engine of any economy. As such, microfinance sector is a very, very important and vital aspect of the financial system, and its vibrancy will really push the economy of any nation, up.
No, I mean, looking at what is on ground at the moment, would you say the microfinance banking subsector, so to speak, within the Nigerian financial sector, is it as vibrant as you, as an operator, would want it to be?
Well, to be frank, you see, it's a long journey. Okay, the policy that brought in the microfinance in 2005, came all the way from 2005, and since then there has been incremental development in the system, and for now I would say we are almost there. We are not there. There is room for improvement.
Where are the gaps? Where are the gaps?
Well, the major gaps and the challenge for microfinance subsector one is the public enlightenment. There is a misconception out there that once you mention microfinance banks, the thing that comes to one's mind is, okay, let me go and get credit, let me go and get loan from there. No, that is a very wrong idea. Now, microfinance bank is licensed microfinance. I mean, it's a licensed bank, just like any other bank. But the only difference is we are specialized banking. Okay, microfinance bank is specialized, arm of banking, and so we are out.
What are the key indicators of this specialization?
Yeah, because our concentration is at the bottom of the pyramid. The poor, we are filling the gaps for those that are excluded financially, those that are not served, and those that are underserved. So our aim is to go there and fill these gaps and bring them into the net of the financial system. That's the essence of microfinance banks.
Okay, you talked about incremental development within the
sector.
The sector.
Yeah.
Will that include the policy responses to grow the sector? Are you satisfied with the actions of state to grow the sector?
Well, like I've said earlier, microfinance banking, because our target market is the small, medium enterprises, and in any nation, these are the engine that boost the economy of any country. Okay, and that is our area of specialization, and so we are a very important component in the financial system. And to answer your question, yes, government is making some responses, but there is a lot to be done. Like I've said, the developmental increase in our activities. Prior to now, it was only the deposit money banks that had BBN. Okay, it was only the deposit money banks that were online, using technology and things like that. But microfinance banks have cashed into that. We are fully into that. All microfinance banks now are, dealing with BBN. So there is a move. Actually, there is a move for us to really develop. But like I've said, there is much to be done.
Okay, let's look at some of the issues that have often come up. You hear comments like Nigeria is overbanked, Nigeria is underbanked. You are in this thing deeply.
Sure.
We're swinging the pendulum. Where does Nigeria belong? Underbanked or overbanked?
Most certainly, we are seriously underbanked. We are talking about a population of, let's say, over 200 million, okay? And most of we know there are about 24, 25 deposit money banks, okay? And then right now we have 874 licensed microfinance banks. Now, these banks, to me, are not enough to service this population, and that is why we have this issue of financial inclusion. Okay, now the belief is with more banks being licensed on daily basis, at least we are there to fill the gaps. However, these banks that I've just mentioned to you, say the commercial banks or the deposit money banks, most of them are situated in the cities and things like that. Before there was a direct policy by the government that there was this rural banking, meaning compelling the commercial banks to go into the rural areas and open shops. Now, they were forced to go, they went and opened shops, but really there wasn't much business activities. You see, citing of a bank or of a branch is a business decision. You have to see the potentials that when you go there, you are investing your funds there, that you are going to recoup something out of it. Not only going there to serve the people. So I don't know how that one just died off, because it was like the commercial banks were not really making it, and so they were forced to shut all those their rural branches. Okay, very few banks still maintain these rural branches. However, to even the microfinance banks that are essentially required to be in those rural areas, when they do business analysis, they see that if they go down into the hinterland, there wouldn't be much business or commercial activities that they will hinge on and then make give their services and then make some returns. And so a lot of the banks are inclined to stay in the urban or semi-urban areas where they see business activities. But what we are discovering now is that wherever you see human beings actively involved in one trade or the other, there is a potential there. And so we are advising our members to really go down to the grassroots. Let them go to the villages, the rural areas, and set up branches and operate within those areas, and they will make it. So that is what we are driving.
Through time, this issue of financial inclusion has been a thorny issue.
Sure.
As an actor in this sector, run us through what really is the problem. Yes, we've talked about rural banking. Even within the urban setting, there are a lot of people who have a lot of difficulty accessing financial services, even within cities and towns. So this financial inclusion issue has remained very key to even the acceptance of the capacity of Nigerian financial system to drive the economy and for the people to relate with it. Run us through what really is the problem with financial inclusion.
Yes, the major problem, like I've said, one, is public enlightenment.
Who's supposed to do that?
There is no awareness out there that people really need to come into the net, go and do businesses with established, licensed banks. Businesses are going on. There's a lot of commercial activities, but they are done informally, and they are not rooted through the banking system. So getting them onto the banking system is what we mean by financially included. Now, how do we achieve this? We achieve this by going inside into the world, talking to them, showing them the benefits they stand to derive from having that relationship with licensed banks, and then showing them that yes, it's not just coming to save money and whatever. If you need assistance, you need support, the banks are there for you. They will do it for you. So that is the major thing. And in some areas, it has to do with culture and religion. Some people say, no. Once I go to the bank, my money will be used for interest and things like that. It's riba. I don't want to do it. And so they prefer to deal in cash. But the idea of the government coming up with this cashless, policy, called cashless, policy, is to assist those people that were either using phones, cash, physical cash to do business, do it through the banks. They are using the telcos. They are using the banks around, and so the chances are there now. It's for us to continuously enlighten the public. Come and bank, your money is safe. Transfer the risk of keeping the money with you to the banks. Banks are licensed to take this kind of risks. We have the national, NDIC that is there to ensure the deposited funds. So it's a continuous thing that will keep enlightening our people that come and do business with the licensed banks.
Okay, we will take a short break at this point, and then return to continue this conversation, especially the issue of quackery, sharp practices, round tripping that the traditional banks have been roundly accused of engaging in. Are the microfinance banks any better? We'll return shortly to continue our conversation with the National President of the National Association of Microfinance Banks in Nigeria, Malam Yusuf Gelesu.
There's a wind of change blowing over Nigeria, and it's coming from the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. If you want to find out how TED Fund is bringing the Nigerian government, industry, and the academia together to drive a new knowledge economy, tune in to this station every Wednesday at 8 p.m. for TED Fund, the paradigm shift. It's informative, it's innovative, and it's exciting. TED Fund, the paradigm shift, proudly produced by 84 TV Radio.
You're welcome back. Exclusive interview reaching you on the platform of 84 TV Radio. And I have with me on set the president of the National Association of Microfinance Banks in Nigeria, Malam Yusuf Gelesu. Once again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Before we took that short break, the issue of sharp practices, quackery, and round tripping, and some other unwholesome practices that banks, not only in Nigeria, but concerns have been very deep in Nigeria, that these banks engage in matters, issues activities that do not augur well for the purpose of setting them up. Are microfinance banks any better? Can we exonerate microfinance banks from this unwholesome situation?
Yeah, you are right. Actually, there are a lot of sharp practices and fraudulent activities going on in the system. And the most successful agents are the microfinance banks. Why am I saying this? You see, like I said, microfinance banks are duly licensed by the central bank. Okay? And every licensed microfinance bank has a certificate from central bank, which you must display in your office. And then you have the NDIC sticker, which you place to give comfort to people that they know. Once they put their money in your bank, at least they are safe.
Yeah, are these displays, are they mandatory?
It's mandatory. You need to do it. And so, there are a lot of other non-bank microfinance institutions out there in the public. People don't know. Once you say microfinance, the sector is big. But within the sector, you have the licensed microfinance banks, of which that is the segment I'm representing. However, you have the non-bank microfinance institutions. Okay, these ones are not regulated by central bank. They are not licensed by central bank.
What kind of activities do they engage in?
Their own is based on membership, just like cooperatives and things like that. They are based on membership. They are not allowed to take deposit from the public. However, they can take their subscriptions, dues from their members, and then within that pool of resources, then lend among themselves. Okay, that is for them. But for us, we are duly licensed to take deposit from the public and then to lend to the deserving public. So these are the differences. However, a lot of people that have these bad intentions, they capitalize on this knowledge gap in the society. They just come and put a small shop and they will say micro. Once they put microfinance, people will ordinarily think that this is a licensed microfinance bank. You understand? So, and they come up with some good ideas that brings X amount of money within so number of days or months. We will give you 100% return on that. And so, by so doing, they actually, when they started up, the first few fronters that they have, they will give them the money and the news will be, yeah, these guys are performing, they are doing what they said they are going to do. But once they are able to attract more people and the funds are coming in, you go to the next day, you won't see them. They have packed their briefcases and they have disappeared. Okay. So these are the ones that are bringing bad name and bad image to the licensed microfinance banks. So my appeal to people is that when you want to do any dealing with any so-called micro, go into the office, confirm that you see the CBN license. At least there will be a letter approving that giving you that you have been approved to do microfinance, and then there must be that NDIC sticker there. These other ones can never get it. You understand? So you have to be cautious. Know that you are dealing with a bank, not someone that is a wonder bank. There are a lot of them. For instance, in Kaduna, while I was the chairman of the association branch in Kaduna, I had course with my team to get 3 such microfinance institutions, sealed by the central bank, because out there they were out to dupe, and they've been duping. There's Mario Moses, there is this Ubana. There are a lot of them all over the country with different names. They come up with different schemes, and people are confused. Is this the real microfinance bank that is licensed, or is it just one of those microfinance institutions that are out there to swindle people? Okay. So that
the reason I raise this question is that we have a lot of these Ponzi schemes all over.
Yes. Scammers, yes.
And they are couched under banking for the people, microfinance.
That's what they use. They cash in on the the lack of knowledge of the public. And when you see, in fact, you'll be surprised that these kind of scammers, when they come and set up their shops and they are doing it, you find enlightened people fall prey. They go there and they lose their phones. You'll be shocked, because we have gullible people that are there just to make money overnight.
Now, is there no regulatory mechanism to deal with it, from government, from even security agencies?
Like I've said, for us that are regulated, duly licensed by central bank, it is our duty, wherever we are operating, to look around and try to see who are these people that are coming to spoil the show? Who are these people that are coming to dupe the unsuspecting public? It's our duty to see that and report to central bank. You see, so if we don't, our marketers are told always. They know who are truly licensed microfinance banks. We know our members, and we know those ones that are just there on the street trying to scam and make money out of the people. So it's our duty to go around anywhere we see any suspecting this. Let's immediately report it to the authorities, and then we go to CBN, and before you know it, CBN will act and they will seal that place and then arrest those that they can arrest.
Okay. Another critical issue is, through time, you've had the troubling stories about default in payment.
Yeah.
That's on the side of those who draw facilities from
the banks.
From the banks.
Yeah.
What is the situation with microfinance banks in the country?
You see, the whole banking system is bedeviled by these bad or toxic loans, as we call them, bad loans, and it's a contributory thing that makes this. Customers on their own part, they are in need of funds. They want to support their business and things like that. They come to the bank. There is a check we do. Okay, if you are qualified,
risk management.
Yes, if you are qualified, we give you these funds. Now, why do I say it's a contributory thing? From day one, there are some dubious customers because they are serial borrowers. They know what banks will. They will make sure they have all the documentation ready. They go to you. Whatever you say they should produce, they will produce. You disburse to them. Now, from day one, their own idea was to come and dupe you, defraud the bank. They will take the money, they will go. They will start maybe making payment, and before you know it, they fizzle out. And then don't forget, these funds are not the bank's money. It's depositors' funds. Okay. Now, the other aspect from the bank, also the fault from the bank, is most times we feel once you say produce XYZ items requirements and the customer is able to do it, okay, now you disburse, you think you have made a credit. To me, as a professional, that is even the beginning. That's the start of the real monitoring.
Yeah, because
you need to follow the customer. What he says he's going to do, you must ensure that is what he's doing, because his ability to repay you depends on how he utilizes that funds. He will utilize it, make some income out of it. From the income, he will pay your principal and interest over the time you have agreed with him. But frankly speaking, most of the issues that bring these bad loans is that banks are so comfortable that I have been given a target, how much loans or how much deposit I can get for the bank and how much loans I should create for the banks. Once I achieve that, I relax. But that is the beginning of real credit. Once you disburse, because before you disburse, whatever you do, your money is still with you. But the moment you say take the money and the person has taken the money, that is when you start following that person, ensure that he utilizes and then returns the money as agreed by the bank.
That's a question of exercising due diligence.
Yes.
Okay.
Due diligence is before you disburse. But once you disburse, there is monitoring and evaluation that you must continuously be doing until the money is fully paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, talking about money, and I know there's a groundswell of calls, and I think it's also already been activated to recapitalize microfinance banks.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with the procedure? Is it working as the operators will want it to be? What's the logic of recapitalizing?
First of all, let's understand one thing. You have a prescribed capital of which you are expected to use to start and do your business and grow your business. Okay? Now, the quantum of capital you have naturally will give you the depth with which you can operate. If you have limited capital, it means no matter how viable businesses are around you, you can only do business within your capacity. Now, once the capital is increased, you are increasing your scope. Okay? You are widening your scope of how much businesses you can do. The idea of increasing capital is a welcome development.
So your body associates with it?
Yes, increase in capital. However, where the trouble is the quantum that we were asked, to increase.
You don't have that capacity?
You see, not the capacity actually. They say you should increase your capital by 1,000%. 1,000%.
What is the level at the moment?
For instance, now we have 3 licenses for microfinance. You have the unit, which you are required to have only 20 million to operate as a unit microfinance bank in any location. Okay. Now, from this 20 million, they say you should hike it up to 200 million.
Yes, that's about 1,000%.
1,000%. And then the other license, the next license is the state, meaning you can operate within any choosing state. You can operate within the local governments of that particular state. You can't cross to another state, okay? Now, for that, it used to be 100 million. With 100 million, you'll be given a license of state. But now they say you should increase it to 1 billion. That's another 1,000%. And then you have the national. For instance, now we have only 10 national, licensed microfinance banks in the country. And they used to have 2 billion as the minimum share capital. But they were asked to move it to 5 billion. That is even more than 1,000%. So we are saying, yes, there is need to increase because that will widen our capacity and things like that, scope to do business. But that level they are talking about is so high. Why? One, you just mentioned Nigeria is just coming out of depression. We know that the economy is terribly battered and it's terribly bad now. Okay, we had the COVID, pandemic that has grounded every business. Okay, we are not an exception as Nigeria. Okay, and now we are going into a second. We're in fact in second phase of the pandemic. So within this scenario, where can people go and raise this quantum of 1,000% to add because they want to do business? We are saying we agree there should be increase because it's more business.
Well, is it more acceptable to you? And
yes.
Can it see government reversing itself?
We have been advocating. When CBN came up with this policy, we immediately reacted. We wrote and said, yes, we agree that should be increased, but not to this level that you're asking for. For us as practitioners, as the people doing the business, okay, this microfinance business started from the community, in fact from the People's Bank to community, now to microfinance. So a lot of us have moved from that community
through that process.
So we are already grounded in this business. So we know what obtains. We are the practitioners. Policymakers are out there just making policy, but we are the ones that know where it pinches us, okay? We are saying, fine, we complained. This amount is too high for us. For the unit that you said it should be 200 million. Now, when we wrote, the first reaction they did was, okay, fine. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because you have microfinance banks that are unit that are in the rural areas and some that are in the cities, but they are all unit. They said, okay, fine, let's tier it. Tier 1 and tier 2. One tier, they say, okay, instead of 200 from 20, move to 50. Okay, for that one that are in the rural areas, if you take 50 million there, you will have capital overhang. People, you will not be able to dispose with that money, and it's every day that money stays with you is at a cost. So we say, why don't you?
It's like idle cash.
Yes. So make it from that 20 to 35, at least. Someone that has been operating on 20 and you say you should add 15, at least that is reasonable. And you are given like say 2 years within which to make that additional 15. That makes some sense. Okay. So we are advocating for that. For the tier 1, let it be from 50, let it be 35. Then the other one, they say, look, the microfinance one that are in the unit that are in the cities, state capitals, they must remain at that 200. Okay, so they are required to bring additional 180 million.
That's from 20 million to
200 million. We said, no, please. If they are in the cities and you are saying they should bring 200, why don't you allow them just to bring 100 million? That is, they will add additional 80 million to make it 100. With that, any serious microfinance bank of these days that is in the state capital should be able to find ways to raise money to that 100 million. That's what we're advocating. Then for the states, the one that they said from 100 to 1 billion, we said, why don't you take half cost? Let it be 500 million.
Okay.
Once it's 500 million, we think our members should be able to. And then the last one, the national, from 2 billion to 5 billion, we say, let's make it, they are already on 2 billion, add 1 billion and then make it 3 billion. That one will be okay. Such banks will be able to add, going through the processes.
Is your body hopeful that government will respond to these suggestions?
Well, when you say government to us, to us, the government is central bank because they are the ones.
Okay, well, the central bank, yes.
Yeah, it was the central bank. We've been chatting, we've been talking, we've been having series of meetings with them. Each time we bring this up because that is the major problem disrupting our businesses now, that recapitalization. We keep telling them this is wrong. A lot of our members will go under. On the one point, you are saying there should be financial inclusion, and we are the best vehicle to be used for this financial inclusion. Now you are coming up with another policy that will completely, get us out of business. So how do you marry the two? You can't reconcile the two. You understand? So we are hoping. They keep saying they will not shift ground, but I know CBN, once they listen to the reasons, because anytime we say no, we must give reasons, convincing reasons, and we believe we have done the best that we can, but we will not relent in our efforts. We continue to advocate CBN and any other place that we can go to. We are going, making them understand this is the implication of what this policy is going to. From the internet survey we just concluded now, because they have given us the deadline to end of this April 2021 for the first threshold. Like if you are required to, say for that 20, you are required to make it to 50, that the rural microfinance, they want by end of April 2021, that difference of 30, half of it, that's 15 million. You should add 15 million to your 20, meaning by end of April you should have 35 million. While from April to the next April, you should be able to get the balance of the 15 million. So we know from the survey we have made, believe you me, even from CBN they know it on their records, less than 30% will be able to scale this. So
it's too rigorous.
So more than 70% will automatically shut down, and that will have a very devastating effect on the economy. On the existing, those ones that are able to survive, it will have serious negative impact on them, and even on the existing commercial banks that have nothing to do with the microfinance bank. It's a banking system. You understand? It will affect them seriously because every microfinance bank you see has a corresponding relationship with banking relationship with commercial bank. So if you are having that, you are taking money from them, you are putting deposit things, and suddenly you are dead. What happens? It will rub on you. And the public, once something happens to one bank, they believe it will have the same effect on other people. There will be a run. There will be distortion, there will be confusion in the economy. So we are begging the authorities, listen to our reasonings. Please, we agree there should be increase, but let it be as we have, suggested. Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Malamili. Yusuf Gelesu, President, National Association of Microfinance Banks here in Nigeria. We do appreciate the insights you've given us and hope to engage with you some other time. Thank you so
very much. It's a pleasure to be on.
There has been exclusive interview on 84 TV Radio. I am Tunde Hassan.